This past summer, I was working up in New York City in a studio that looked a lot like this. So one day, 2 weeks into the internship, my colleague Maggie Chan and I have to go outside the studio to shoot an interview upstairs. And so we take our cart with all of our equipment, we head to the elevator, we head upstairs, we set up, and I noticed in preparation for this particular interview, I was on my hands and knees quite a bit hooking up lights and cameras. And I thought nothing of it at the time, so 30 minutes go by, we shoot the interview, everything goes very well. We pack up our equipment, and then we head back downstairs to our studio. We put everything back, and then that's when Maggie noticed something. She turned to me with a very concerned face, and she started pointing at my waist. And I asked her what the problem was exactly, and she said, "Oh, there's something. Can you just turn?" And I was, "Maggie, what's the matter? Just tell me." And then she said, "I think there's something wrong with your pants." I turn around all the way, and that's when I see it. A 4-inch rip in the back of my pants. I instantly look back at Maggie and just say, "Oh, shit." Maggie tried to reassure me briefly, then went into the room next door. While she was gone, I went to the mirror in the studio to examine the damage. It was bad. So I followed Maggie into the next room and did my absolute best to hide the back of my pants. But as I entered the room, I found out that Maggie had told everyone else. I looked at her and thought, how could you? That's when my other boss, Tim, who looked like a bald Jeff Bridges and sounded exactly like Rob Downey Jr., turns to me and he says, "Andrew, the way I see it, you have 3 options. You can head downstairs to the CVS, buy a needle and thread, and fix your pants. 2, you can go home, change your pants, then come back in a few hours. Or 3, you can get some gaffer tape from the back room and patch it up yourself now." So I head to the back room, snag some tape, head outside the studio, past the elevators, and burst into the bathroom, desperate. Most of the stalls are occupied, but I managed to find one. I go inside and do some damage control. However, in examining my pants, I noticed that the rip went from 4 inches to just about 8 inches. It was a nightmare. So trying to hold back my laughter, I start tearing off strips of gaffer tape to patch up my pants from the inside out to make it less noticeable. But as I'm ripping off pieces of tape one by one, the automatic toilet flusher behind me keeps going off every 10 seconds. And at one point even, someone in the stall next to me just goes, "What the hell is going on?" After doing what I could with the tape, I exited the stall and walked back to the studio, as if nothing happened. But when I entered the studio, Tim wasn't there. A few minutes go by, then he enters. He throws the roll of gaffer tape at me, saying, "You forgot this in the stall, ass boy." And that is the story of how I ripped my pants in the second week of my internship.